Gen Z's addiction problem. Same problem as always, every other generation, but the solution is wrong, as almost always.
Pokemon in the way that they evolve every generation, and no matter how hard we try to get over one addiction, they always come back in another form. Like, bro, this is the same shit, just an evolved version. It's like every time we try to grow as a society.
Yeah, and I'm assuming I'll be able to go over this more later in the video, but a lot of people don't understand that people don't have addictions, addictions have people. Okay, what that means is essentially, if you have certain types of psychological damage, and I'll get more into that later as I say, but if you have some form of psychological damage, it's like these addictions stick onto you, okay? So what a lot of people do is they focus on the addiction, whether it be porn, video games, whatever it may be, they kick it, they get rid of it, and then another one just comes. And then they're confused and they start losing hope. The truth is, that's the wrong way of going about addictions. You have to understand that if you have an addiction, you're like in a magnet for addictions. So you have to work on yourself. People focus too much on the addiction rather than the person.
Addictions grow with us. Like when we started to make technology and computers, some of us started drowning on the internet and became terminally online. Or when we found a cure with medicine, someone would find another form of medicine.
Yo, you just found the cure for cancer? That's cool and all, but I just found out about this new drug that makes you see the stars, bro. It's called fentanyl.
There's so many addictions that count, but you'll notice a pattern that they usually fall into a category in which I label the 4 horsemen of addictions. So in this video...
Okay, this will be interesting. So this guy is proposing a theory. I'm going to break it down as to whether or not it is coherent or not. I know quite a bit about psychology and philosophy. I help people with this type of stuff, and I've personally seen people overcome addiction. So I know how this works, and I know that the pitfalls, 99.9% of people, talking about the people that specifically recognize addiction and talk about addiction, the mistakes they make. And I'll break down why it's a mistake.
We'll be going over...
I'm assuming I'm going to see here, unless this guy is like, I mean, the 4 horsemen, we'll see. I can't, on the top of my head, I can't think of any 4 categories, but maybe this will be
each of them, starting with the rising addiction of gooning.
Oh, we're just going to talk about addictions, like what the addictions are. Okay, well, for the most part, all addictions are the same because of what I said earlier. But each one has its own little wrinkles, so we're going to get into that.
Gooning has always been a thing. The older generation had these old VHS tapes and Playboy magazines. But during the age of the internet, it's impossible to scroll through media without at least seeing someone doing thirst traps or promoting their OnlyFans. Now
Bro, what is... Like, I don't know if this is like the content people watch, but like, can you just make your points without all this spurg stuff? Like, I understand the new generation's full of brain rot, they're retarded, but like, it's hard to watch.
Everyone's a gooner. If it wasn't as big of an addiction before, it sure as hell is now. Because people in this industry are making generational wealth feeding into the temptation of lust. All thanks to the fact that we are horny motherfuckers. And let's be honest, guys,
that's not the reason why gooning is a mass addiction. Horniness actually has very little to do with gooning. I know on the surface it seems like a ridiculous notion, but it's based on the flawed assumption that humans inherently are like super horny and we are just driven by our sex desires 24/7. And this is a theory that makes sense on a secular level. Like, if you just believe humans are walking balls of meat and we came from a bunch of monkeys having butt sex, then sure, your theory makes sense. This is why Freud had this theory, Sigmund Freud. But when you add in the concept of a soul and spirit, which I believe in and have rational justification for, which it's kind of out of the scope of this video, but I just want to say that, because some people, like, I understand why some people say, like, oh, don't bring God into it and all this other stuff. And that's because most Christians are retarded. I'm fine with asserting that. But that doesn't change the fact that it's true that we have a soul and a spirit. So, basically, in a very layman's way, what happens is that we have psychic energy. Like, this is energy within our psyche, within our mind, within our body. This is all of our energy. And what happens is that women, sex, all these different things, it's like a very easy way to transmute the energy. Like, to put the energy, put it somewhere, because you can't destroy energy, right? So you got to put it somewhere. And dopamine's one of the ways that, like, the physical relation to the mental, the non-physical, dopamine's one of the ways that the mind picks where to put this energy. So that's why addictions that are high dopamine are addicting, right? So via dopamine, it sends it through. So yes, it is a high dopamine activity. Yes, humans have an innate desire to reproduce. But it's wrong-headed to say that the dopamine, the sexual aspect, is the whole thing. It's not. In reality, the problem is that our mind wants to go through these things because we have complexes related to those things. So, for instance, I would say that this generation, compared to other generations, has very bad relations with women. Okay? There's a lot of incels. There's a lot of people who indulge in a bunch of degenerate uh, body collecting and whatnot. And these are all reflections of a hurt female image within the psyche. And basically, all that means is we all have a female image in our mind, and from this, we take all of our feminine actions. So whether it be creativity, nurturing, understanding, etc. I don't mean feminine as in painting your nails. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it's like the feminine supercharging the masculine in the men's case. And what happens is that these people don't have those integrated within their own minds and have a bad relationship with it. So what they do is they project it onto other people. So this is why, have you ever had a friend who is like one way, and then he gets with a girl and completely switches up and completely changes up? That's because of this. It's like the desire for his own mind to come together is being fulfilled by this external person, which is a problem. Now, the way gooning fits into this is that gooning, as a former gooner myself, I was quite the gooner. I was quite the gooner. I was quite the gooner. And I say it 3 times because I was quite the gooner. But what gooning does is basically is an outlet for this. It's like a connection. Because I guarantee you, if you goon, okay, if you were to just pause the video at any point, you're able to get like become conscious and stop being a zombie, think like, oh, what am I gaining from this? And you realize that more often than not, it's kind of like, oh, I feel comforted, I feel safe, all these different things. This is what you desire from a woman, but it's being projected onto the screen and onto this video. So you don't really enjoy this action as so much as you perceive it as giving you this thing that you do really desire. And the goal within your own mind is to integrate that thing within your own mind without the need for external things.
Single one of us has either shined their pearl or beat their meat before is normal, but at least it was in control.
That assumes that, like, in moderation, gooning is good. No. So, both from a scientific perspective, there's no such thing as moderation when it comes to gooning, because gooning is like a never-ending cycle, because you get desensitized. So then you need to watch something more shocking, more extreme. So it gets worse and worse and worse, and you do it more and more and more. So there's no such thing as moderation. It's like saying I could do meth in moderation. No, like even if you took a little bit, that could, in theory, be okay for you. The problem is that you're now in a chain loop. Okay, so there's no such thing as moderation. That's the first thing. The second thing is that there's no such thing as moderation when it's morally wrong. Like, it's morally wrong to goon. Okay? So, it's a twofold criticism of that point.
Because when did people start whipping their cock out at a drive-thru? This guy's stroking his chicken while trying to order some chicken.
Is this actually what people watch? This is like retarded.
And I also don't remember people celebrating their 18th birthday by trying to sell their bodies online either. You just got out of high school. Come on, at least try another career.
No, how about you find a husband, you get in the kitchen, and you make him happy. That makes you happy, and you have kids. Not find a career, okay? Finding, like, the whole thing about gooning and that epidemic, it comes from a place of propaganda. This is the whole sex thing, like, oh, you if you're a virgin, you're a loser. Like, that whole thing comes from propaganda. Like, the second wave of feminism, which is a part of this whole, oh, you're a virgin, you're a loser, you need to be sexually active, was literally funded by the CIA, okay? And far more other people that I can't really get into on this video, but if you want, you can join my Discord and you can happily ask me more questions about that subject or any other subject I talk about in this video. But this whole notion around sex is based on propaganda. It's not real, it's not natural. So, in this case, he's listening to the same propaganda that has pushed the gooning agenda in terms of like, oh, get a career instead of becoming a bop. It's like, no, like, neither, okay? The whole getting a career thing is one of the segues into being a bop, okay? It's like intertwined. The same, and it doesn't mean every woman who gets a career will be a bop. But the point is that the mindset behind that agenda is what leads to it. It's kind of like a slippery slope that you get stuck on. And when it comes to on a cultural level.
Addiction is already a problem on its own, but it's more shocking on how open it's become. People are on the hub daily, while it's more common for younger and younger girls to start their adult career. I feel like back then, if someone was gooning on a daily basis, that would be pretty concerning. And now that's normal for a lot of people. The gooning epidemic has become so normalized and publicized to the point where I've become numb to it. Watching some random person do some seductive dance is just part of the daily scroll session. Even A-list celebrities are getting in on the lust,
Like, is that supposed to be funny? Like, I don't understand these memes.
like with the Sydney Sweeney soap, which is supposedly a bar of soap that uses some of her used bathwater. And of course, it's sold out everywhere. And trust me, I checked. If anyone knows where I can get some, let me know.
Okay, I don't really like this guy's sense of humor, but like, people are buying that? Really? Am I just out of touch? I don't understand. Like, this video is like, it's like I'm looking at a different universe.
I'm asking for a friend. The only way to buy this is from eBay resellers listing it for $200 a bar. I wouldn't be surprised if some down bad gooner bought this. Cause yeah, who would be so down bad to spend $200 on some Sydney Sweeney bathwater soap? Am I right, guys? And while we're on the topic of money, it brings us to our next addiction.
So are you gonna help anyone with the solution? Like, you're not even gonna give the. What is this video like? I don't know. Maybe I'm out of touch, but like when I would think about like when I make my videos and I talk about something, I try to give people takeaways that change their life. So, is this like a social commentary that provides no solution? Like maybe he's gonna talk about it later. Maybe give him benefit of the doubt, but
Gambling. Gambling is one of the more interesting addictions. As we may know already, the economy in this generation has been getting worse and worse. I don't know if y'all know about this, but there used to be a thing called the McDonald's dollar menu. And a McChicken was $1.
make dildos. Like, is that supposed to be funny? Is that supposed to make me pause and go back like, oh my god, make dildos? Maybe I'm out of touch, but that doesn't seem very funny to me.
Now it's pushing 5. But because everything is so expensive nowadays, I would just assume most of us have to be more financially savvy and smart to make it by with affording life in 2025. But the opposite effect happened, where people decided to give up and spend it all. Okay, I'm never going to be able to afford a house, but this $50 parlay? Shit, I could turn that to $5 million.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, the point he just made, I guess it's fine to say as a matter of fact, but he's kind of, like, rhetorically, he's kind of saying it as if, well, people are logical and make logical decisions. No, they don't. Okay? Because it kind of has no correlation. The whole thing about gambling is it makes you feel alive. Now, the thing I said earlier, like, oh, well, maybe you feel comforted when you're watching porn, and maybe that comes from a complex of trauma, right? Well, complexes are formed by trauma, but I think it's a bit complicated as to what a trauma is, but in general, trauma creates complex. And this trauma can create complexes that can either be fulfilled by porn or gambling. So maybe someone wants to feel alive. They want to feel alive. So maybe they get that satisfaction from porn, from searching, trying to find the perfect clip. I'm sure you know the feeling, okay? Just Googling Big Booty Latina doesn't work anymore. You gotta scour the web for the perfect thing. Gambling feeds that same thing. So you see how if you were to quit porn, you could fall into gambling because you have the same internal problem, even if you get rid of the external thing, right? So, yeah, no, this gambling has nothing to do with logic. There's no deduction of like, well, I don't have much money, so I'm not going to gamble. That has nothing to do with it.
Being addicted to gambling is like being addicted to losing money, because logically and statistically, the odds are against you and you're bound to lose more than gain.
But the thing is, everyone knows that, so like, it's kind of like telling someone, hey, I know you goon. Do you know gooning's bad for you? It's like, hey, thanks, bro, but I've known that for 5 years. I haven't been able to quit. Like, thanks, bro. Like, you're not helping anyone.
But that doesn't matter, because there's that slim chance of hitting that jackpot. And it's not like the old days where you had to go out of your way to gamble. You had to deal with flying to Vegas, going to the casinos, the old people hogging the machines. But now, there's online gambling, where you can lose your paycheck simply through tapping the phone on your screen. Wait, tapping the screen on your phone. You've probably at least seen one gambling sponsor in some shape or form. Maybe from a totally random clip with a steak logo slapped on it, or from a handful of streamers playing these fancy little gambling games similar to Crossy Road or Landmines. And after watching these enough, I kinda understand the appeal. When something's at stake, it makes it more thrilling, more fun.
What I'm going to do to solve my financial problems is I think I'm just going to go ahead and sell my car.
Give me back. Oh my god.
Tell me this doesn't make you want to gamble. And the content creators promoting this, I can't hate, get your bag.
Oh yeah, you can't hate. What do you mean you can't hate? What? Okay, I was going to make a completely different point, but what do you mean I can't hate? Make your bag. It's morally reprehensible. What are you talking about? It's like saying to someone, "Hey, you're convincing a bunch of people. Excuse me. You're leading a bunch of people to ruin their lives. All to you, man. You're just making a bag. What? It's morally wrong. It's really wrong." Because you're leading other people into it. It's more than just you sitting in the corner being your meat, okay? You're now motivating other people. You have sponsorship codes, etc. You're taking... These people have sponsors. You're sponsoring, or rather, you're sponsored by a gambling company, which people are going to see you sponsored by. They're going to go to it, and they're going to gamble. That is morally wrong. So, no, I just can't hate on it because you're making a bag. How does making money from it make it morally okay? It doesn't. That's retarded. Anyways, what was the point I was gonna make? Is that like completely...
Tell me this
Oh
doesn't...
yeah, the thrill. I remember. The thrill part. So, the thing about the thrill is it kind of goes back to what I said earlier. And that also comes from having a boring life. Like, if you have a boring life and you don't really like what you do every day, you're more likely to gamble. So again, it's not about gambling. It's about you, your mind. That's what you should be focusing on.
make it be at a level where people go into... At the end of the day, people are still losing money. But so far, it doesn't seem to be at a level where people go into crippling debt from gambling. So I guess it's not that harmful, unlike the next addiction, drugs. Drugs are the most stereotypical type of addiction. Whenever you think of the word, maybe a rehab center pops up in your mind for people trying to stay sober. Something like cigarettes were common back in the day. But as the generation got older, cigarettes got outdated. It used to be advertised by doctors that it was healthy for you. But over time, researchers exposed the truth that these pocky sticks were...
Like, what is it like? Oh, before they said cigarettes were bad, and now we now know that cigarettes are actually bad for you. Like, what is the point of this? Like, who cares, dude? Yeah, cigarettes are bad for you, right? And I think a lot of the I do not say that cigarettes are good for you, but I think it's kind of overhyped, that whole being bad for you thing. I think there's more nuance to it. It's not something I'm necessarily super researched in, but based on the research I've done, which is going to be more than 99.9% of people, it's kind of overblown. I think alcohol is worse.
Fucking up your lungs. It wasn't cool anymore. Plus, it smelled like doo-doo. Ain't nobody trying to be around a smoker. So cigarettes transformed to vaping. And vaping was cool. It supposedly isn't as bad for you. You can do cool tricks with the smoke, and they even got these fruity flavors. This product obviously appeals to someone younger, and it's sad to say that it worked. Cause my high school was hooked on this.
So I just want to point something out. He said it's sad to say that it's sad to say people who are younger get hooked. But you just said, oh, well, you're just getting a bag when he talks about gambling people who mostly appeal to younger people. Doesn't make... Can you have, like, coherence in your own, like, system, dude, please? And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, you should either be one of two ways. You should either, like, agree with everything the guy says, or you should disagree with everything the guy says. And I guess I'm mostly taking disagreeing positions here, but I make my own reactions. I say whatever I want, okay? If he says something smart, I'll say it was smart. If he says something stupid, I'll say it's stupid. In this video, he's happened to say mostly stupid things.
Teachers are scrambling around trying to catch people vaping and having these whole-ass anti-vape PSAs. There's so many variations of the new age of drugs, like people taking laughing gas, sniffing Sharpies, tweaking off substances much more.
Again, this is all the same. This is all the same. The psychological problem. And honestly, I mean, the only solution to addiction is a cultural shift that specifically emphasizes the proper way to heal your brain. And it's not traditional therapy. And it's not really just going into a church and becoming a Christian. As much as other Christians would love me to say that, but it's about the Christian system, but it's also understanding true psychology, right? Which would be, I think Jung is very good, but I would change a lot of his ideas to fit into the Christian system, but primarily his idea of, repression, we are not just merely walking balls of meat, etc. And I mean, that's the solution to addiction. Okay, each person needs to undergo a individual mental transformation. Simply not taking meth anymore doesn't really solve the addiction. Because the addiction truly is to fulfill a complex within oneself.
Worse, but I believe that vaping falls into second place, with the first one being caffeine. Caffeine takes the crown on being the most common drug, pretty much in all forms of beverages. I'm betting that 99% of us have either drank coffee or an energy drink within the past week, and we think that we're not relying on it. But once you get into the habit of caffeine, it's hard to stop.
I don't know. I actually just, for the first time in months, I had a little bit of coffee. And, it's cool, whatever. But there was a period where I had drank coffee for like 2 or 3 weeks straight, and I just stopped drinking because I like how it tasted. This one I drank wasn't that bad, though. So I might drink that more. But caffeine's only a problem when you have no energy and and then you drink coffee. Because then you're reliant on it. Like me, coffee, no coffee, I can still get everything done, but it's just like an addition to make things better.
I had a phase where I'd be chugging an energy drink in the morning, since it was finals week and I neglected sleep to finish work, and it was a good 2-week phase. But by the end, I was crashing out. My body felt tired all the time since I became dependent on this drink to wake me up. And it took another week before my body could adjust back. Maybe this is you right now. For those daily coffee drinkers, try it
So is it?
a day without coffee in the morning and see how it turns out. But this
So I don't understand. Like, is this guy just gonna comment on social issues, or is he actually gonna do something about it?
addiction can't compare to the final boss of the four. And that's the thing you're using to watch this video, or the thing in your pocket.
Social media,
Your phone.
scrolling.
Your phone and the internet is the gateway drug to everything else. This is the whole reason why these other addictions got so much worse. You can use your phone to goon, gamble online, and order a 12-pack of Red Bull in the case that your energy drink stash runs out. This device is a dopamine shot to get you stimulated. Whenever you're in a boring situation, you can easily escape by scrolling through Instagram or TikTok.
Yeah, and honestly, the whole scrolling thing is just a byproduct of people not being comfortable with themselves. Because when I realize the difference between me and most people my age, I'm 19. The difference is that when I'm out in public and nothing's going on, I just sit and I observe and I think to myself about things, and it's whatever. Everyone else just or with their thumb more accurately like that. So yeah, it's just because people aren't comfortable with their own brains. So the easiest way to quit scrolling is just to literally lock all your devices away, go outside, and literally just do nothing for 2 or 3 hours, but think to yourself. The moment you become comfortable with that, the moment you'll be able to stop using your phone all the time.
Waiting in line at the DMV? Whip out your phone. Can't sleep? Fuck it, whip out your phone. Feeling horny? Whip out your phone. Then whip out your cup. And this is why our dopamine receptors got fried. We got so used to the subway surfers in the corner of our screen that everything else became dull. Nowadays, you could be talking to someone and mid-conversation, they'll be looking at their phone, checking some random irrelevant notification. And I have to admit, I have a problem with this. It gets so bad to the point where I work for 5 minutes, then go on a 20-minute scroll session. And whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you have to literally be a bot to scroll like that. I'm just being honest. Like, at this point in my life, like, scrolling, because I do like business stuff. Okay, so I have like a TikTok and Instagram account I use for my other businesses. And in order to like do like social media research, what am I gonna post? What should I post? I have to scroll a little bit. And within minutes, my brain starts hurting. It's just too much. It's too much. I'm thinking about too many different things. And I can see that if I were to keep doing that, and I were to condition my brain to that, I would just become retarded. Like, I literally would not be able to think as well as I do now. Because the thing is, with scrolling is, our minds are conditioned to, when we look at a piece of information, we're conditioned to break it down and understand it on a deeper level. But the thing is, when you look at 50 different clips about 50 different things within a minute, your brain can't do that. It's too much. So then it just offloads and it goes like, well, all right, whatever. We're just gonna take information in. We're not gonna break it down. We're just gonna keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Dopamine, dopamine, dopamine. Right? That's all it is. So what happens is when you're presented with information outside of the scrolling, you can't break it down. You can't understand it. Right? But what does stick around is like subconscious images. So if you get like a dopamine spike while you're scrolling, that'll stick with you. So when you see a big booty Latina on here, Okay, that sticks in your mind, and then when you get a urge to goon, it's gonna come back, right? Because it sticks. It's like dopamine and high emotion is like glue that sticks to your brain, and it influences your brain further on. So basically, you're asking to be mentally programmed, first of all, and second of all, you're a bot if you scroll. For more than like if you scroll outside of business purposes, you are a bot. Okay, just straight up.
My iPhone updates me about my screen time, I low-key get ashamed because it's telling me that I'm a disappointment. Yeah, my screen time was 5 hours a day and it went up 20% from last week. I'm sorry, okay? Maybe my mom was right. It is that damn phone. But since I'm talking about this topic, it should be a wake-up call to get myself in a better habit. If you guys watch me from 2024, you guys know that I used to be into self-improvement, and I realized that I've let myself go over the past year. My work ethic decreased while my phone usage increased. So if there's anything to take away from this video,
Yeah, what is the takeaway? Because you just told us a bunch of stuff and you haven't really given. Like, I am the only one here that's actually helping anyone. I mean, this is like a pretty pointless video to watch.
is to be conscious of what we're doing. After I graduated college, I felt time zoom by. And it's important.
Yeah, being conscious of what you're doing is important, so that's a good point. But the thing is, being conscious of what you're doing requires you to make a commitment to transformation. So, I believe in working through stages in terms of working with the mind. So, I have people going through 4 stages specifically right now. And in order to become conscious of what you're doing, you need to specifically take on exercises and trying to diminish certain habits in order for you to be able to do that. So telling a random person, hey, be more conscious of what you're doing, goes one ear and then out the other, because there's no foundation for that premise to stick on.
To use the limited time we have on something valuable. A little less scrolling and a little more enjoying life. So, get off TikTok and
But these people, for them, enjoying life is scrolling. So I understand it's an 8-minute video and there's only so much information to put into there. And you're getting a bunch of views. So I understand where you're coming from and why you're saying these things, but maybe I'm just out of touch. Maybe actually making valuable content is maybe I'm wrong about what value is. I'm wrong. But in any case, there you go. Subscribe for more, like, join the Discord, blah blah blah, whatever. See you in the next one.